Hey comic book fans, welcome to Comic Fix, episode 24.3. In today's video, you don't have to worry about time restriction in this video. I don't have to go into work today. I don't have to, worry about, oh, I only have a half an hour for my lunch break. No, I'm off today, so I'm here to tell you guys the last couple comics in my load. And let's get started with Action Comics, issue number 14. Now, with Grant Morrison, he is going to be leaving the Action Comics at, I think, issue number 17. I'm excited to see him get off the book. I think that the book has been a little stale since he's been on it. And it seems like his thoughts and his motivations are elsewhere. I think they're in those indie titles that he's talking about doing. So, I'm glad to see him going off. Well, in this title, there's times when Grant Morrison's really good. That's when he does usually like a one-shot, and it's something just inventive. And that's what you get in this book. The storyline starts off on Mars, and you see this family or these people running away from these monsters. And they're calling out for help, and who else would hear them all the way from Mars? None other than Superman. Now, right off the bat, you definitely tell that this is Grant Morrison just having freaking fun. It feels so much like a Golden Age comic. And it's something different, it's something you don't get really much in comics anymore. And so it's a nice feel right off the bat. And then you got this little kid, I don't remember his name, but he is the thing that's our voice in the whole entire... He's our childhood voice in the series. Or in this issue. And I just love the time when everybody thinks that all hope is gone, and then Superman comes into town. You just see the smile on this kid's face when he sees that Superman actually came to the rescue. And I gotta say, this is Grant Morrison good. And I love the artist in here, Rags Morales. He does a great job at just that look of Superman. I'm just like, He seems bigger than life, especially on this panel. And then we find out the Metallics, I think that's what their name is, that we saw in issue number 3 and 4, are trying to build their own home for their species, which has died out. And they're doing it on Mars. And so it's up to Superman to finish these guys off once again. But then something happens. Throughout all the action, the multitude is here. Now the multitude is the species that killed off the Metallics human race, or the race. And so we got these angel type of creatures that we see on the cover having all out hell for Superman. Now in here it's called Action Comics, and you get action throughout this whole entire issue. And it may be dumb action at times, but it definitely will put a smile to your face. And I do love the way that how the Metallics are going, and there's a point in there where Superman just like, I am getting the hell beat out of me. And so he goes back into retreat, and everyone's looking at him like, aren't you the Man of Steel? Aren't you supposed to save everybody? And I just love the kids. After all the parents are just yelling at Superman saying, why can't you save us? And just seeing the kid just being like, Superman's injured. I'm more worried about him than I am about myself. And that's when Superman gets the great idea to destroy the multitude. And it feels just very much a Golden Age type of thing. But is that bad? No, this is pretty good Grant Morris. I do like the artwork. The ending was a little shocking. I was just like, oh wow. But I'm not going to tell you what the ending is. But if you're looking for a good Golden Age type of book, just a book that you read and you leave with a smile on your face, look no further than Action Comics issue number 14. And then we got the backup story. Now, in the last issue, issue number 13, we got the story of Krypto. And what I remember most of all was the backstory of Krypto, and is like, him looking after Clark Kent, even though Clark Kent could not see Krypto. It was just some beautiful stuff that you saw in that backstory. That same writer comes back on again, and he hits out of the ballpark yet again. And here we got Superman, who every so often, when you see a star outside, you're seeing the star, the light that's coming off the star from thousands of years ago or hundreds of years ago. Well, the same holds for Krypton. And Superman sees Krypton explode just like it was yesterday. And it was just a beautiful story. And it was just a really good stuff. I enjoyed this issue. Yes, it was a little dumb, but it was a good type of dumb. It was just something that you just have a smile at the end of the day. So in the end, I'm going to give Superman Action Comics issue number 14 a 2.5 out of 5. I can't give it a 3 just because it just doesn't have that wow moment in there, except in the backstory. But it was just a good issue. I mean, if this is what Grant Morrison is going to be doing towards the end of his run on Action Comics, I'm all for it. But would I be willing to pay $3.99 for it? Not really. If I see it, no. If I see it on sale, I would actually go and pick up issue 15, 16, and 17. But I may just drop it for now because, you know, it's $3.99 book and it's not giving me a full story or full story arc. It just seems like a couple one-shots here and there. Next up is Green Lantern issue number 14. Now, Green Lantern is a book that I had mixed feelings for. I like it, then I dislike it. I like it, and then I dislike it. And with the Third Army, Rise of the Third Army story that's been going on throughout all the Green Lantern books, I felt like the story's going nowhere. And that's one of the things that's been hurting it. Now, in the second month of the Rise of the Third Army, you would think that maybe we'll move the story on a little bit. In Green Lantern, you basically don't. You get the same stuff that you got last month in all the Green Lantern books. So we start off the issue with the Guardians plotting their destruction of the Green Lantern Corps. And you just see them just giving you a little backstory of what has happened previously with Hal Jordan and Sinestro, and then with Guy Gardner and all the other human Green Lanterns. Now, one thing I gotta say is why, oh why, is the Green Lantern Corps is so huge. There's so much life there. But why is the human race so significant to the destruction of the Green Lantern Corps? Why do they have to destroy the human race to destroy the Corps? I don't get it. I would love for it to be more more, you know, to have different species in there. Don't make the whole human race seem that important. Because there's so much cooler stuff. Why is it Kilowog or anybody else that needs to be taken down for the destruction of the Green Lantern Corps? And then we get some talking from the first Green Lantern, which is charging up all the Rise of the Third Army people. And he basically tells the Guardians, you have fallen from your path, and once I break out, I am going to destroy you guys. That's when I was like, I cannot wait for that, because I really want these Guardians to get killed off. And I think it would have been done quicker if they actually had the Rise of the Third Army as one full issue instead of 2 pages in each issue. And then we jump on to right now with Baz meeting the Justice League. Now, I love this artwork by Maneki where Baz finally sees Superman. He's like, oh crap, I am in so much trouble. And that's when I thought this book got pretty good with the banter back and forth. And just Baz noticing that the Justice League is there. And I love the pose that all the Justice League have. They just seem bigger than life. And then you just see little old Baz there just kind of trembling in his tracks. And that's when I get the best part in the whole entire book. There's a point in there where Baz basically tells Superman, I know you could kick my ass any day of the week, no matter if I have this ring. But I could take on Batman. And I just love that look, the Batman just being like, you don't know what you're talking about, kid. It just put a great smile to my face, just even hearing all the banter back and forth with the Justice League. Now, one of the problems I do have with the Justice League, though, is that I don't feel like there's individuality in the characters. That when they talk to each other, it's not like they're, talking to each other, just finishing off each other's sentences. Jeff Johns has basically not given the Justice League, I feel, characters. They feel like all the same type of people, just in different costumes. So, we get some good banter back and forth. And then Batman goes and touches the ring. And you see out of the ring comes Sinestro, basically telling no one, don't you dare touch my ring. I'll destroy you if you ever do it again. Now, I don't know if the Justice League have ever seen Sinestro and since the New 52 started. But wouldn't you think that if they have seen him before, they will know exactly where this ring's coming from and that nothing is what it seems? You would just think that, right? Especially with Batman. But no, it just starts out a big old chase, and it was fun to see, but really, did anything really happen in this chase scene? No, not really. You did see Baz using his ring pretty smartly and just trying to use... It wasn't like he was thinking of doing it, it was just intuition or just something that he knew he had to do, so the ring did it. And then we get to the parts that I actually like with Baz. Is that there's points in every single issue where he interacts with his family or his sister. Especially his sister. And those points in there just give so much character to Baz that it makes you care for the guy. And know that he's not a bad guy. He was just put in a bad situation. So we get him and his sister having a meeting, and his sister found out who put the bomb in the van that he stole before he got the Green Lantern ring. And then that's where the story basically ends. He finds out who the guy is, and then we go and we have a little bit more of the rise of the Third Army. And I felt like this book didn't go anywhere. We were promised the action scenes for the Justice League. That happened. But nothing else really did. It feels like that the Rise of the Third Army story arc is very flat. And so is Jeff Johns' run on Green Lanterns. Everything's just become so flat. And hopefully once the Rise of the Third Army story arc is done, and as Jeff Johns said, that Rise of the Third Army is just a setup for the big event that's going to come next year. So hopefully once all the setup's done, Jeff Johns can get back onto what he did prior to the New 52 and get this book back on track. Because I feel like this book has just been really flat. The writing, but the artwork though, is one thing I've really enjoyed. So I'm going to give Green Lantern issue number 14 a 2 out of 5. If you're a Green Lantern fan like I am, you're going to be picking up. But if you're not, don't even bother. I mean, Rise of the Third Army, as I just said, it's flat, it's boring. There's nothing here that makes me go, oh, I need more. And if I wasn't reading all the other books, I definitely would not even pick them up. I wouldn't look twice. Something you just pass up entirely. Next up is a book that I saw the cover for it, and I was like, I dropped the book, but this cover makes me so excited to see these two interacting with each other, and that is World's Finest Huntress and Power Girl. And on the cover you see Damian and Huntress, and if you did not know, Huntress is from Earth 2, and she is the daughter of Bruce Wayne. And they got stuck on Earth 1, or not Earth 1, Earth Prime, and Robin is the son of Bruce Wayne, so it's the first time these two are interacting. So I saw that cover and I was like, I need to get this book. Now, there's been two artists on this whole entire book series, and Kevin Maguire, he's usually doing the backstory parts, and George Perez has been doing the main bulk of the book. Well, in this issue, he gets turned around. George Perez, he's doing the Power Girl parts, and then Kevin Maguire, he's doing the Huntress parts. So it was a nice little twist, or a nice little turnaround, because I've been really enjoying Kevin Maguire's artwork on this series, especially the way he does the mouths and eyes. So in here we got Huntress. She needs some money. She needs to get a new identity, so she's gonna take some money, or as she said, borrow some money from Bruce Wayne. And who's there to stop her? But Damian. And I love this page right here. Just this splash page is awesome, and just knows that there's just gonna be some fun action scenes. And as I said before, I just like Kevin Maguire's artwork, especially what he does with the mouth. He just gives so much emotion in there. And just like everything about Kevin Maguire's artwork, I really do enjoy. And so we get a really cool fight scene with Damian and Huntress. And then Damian's noticing little things about how the way Huntress is fighting. And it's just some really cool stuff. And I just like the attitude that Damian has in this issue. And I do think that Paul Levitz actually does have a pretty good voice for Damian. Now, as I said, he had a good voice for Damian. He has a god-awful voice for Power Girl. So in here we see Power Girl. She's going to go and put some machine on one of these satellites, so she basically can get into the feed of the satellite. And she starts talking about the guy who owns the satellite and how the last time they talked to each other, he couldn't look her in the face. He was just looking at her breasts the whole entire time. And it was kind of said in a very, how would I say it? Very sly way, like, you know, she didn't mind. And it was just like, what? And then she sees that there's a space station, so she goes to say hi to the astronauts. And before she says hi to the astronauts, she basically says, oh, I bet they're so hot and whatnot. And it was just very uninteresting. And I just thought that the voice of Power Girl was not the best voice you can have. It was kind of a little demeaning to how he thinks women talk. And that's one thing I've noticed about this series, is that he could be very hit or miss by how he portrays females. And then we see her going back down to Earth, and who does she see but Supergirl? Now you would think, okay, I see what you're doing. Now she's going to meet Supergirl, and so you're going to have Supergirl meeting her other self in World Earth 2, while Huntress is meeting Damian from Earth 1. But no, that didn't happen. Basically, Power Girl just is like, okay, I'm going to avoid her at all costs. And then you get her nude, and she basically gets told by her secretary that there's a situation that she needs to go and handle. So she goes and handles it, and just the way that Power Girl is portrayed in this book just annoys me so much. She's such a good character. She can be such a good character. But the way that Paul Levitz just writes her and portrays her is just bland and boring at best. Then we get some more action scenes with Huntress and Damian, and those scenes are just nah. I mean, you've seen them all before. But then I love the point where Power Girl finally gets the upper hand on Huntress. Or not Power Girl. Where Huntress finally gets the upper hand on Damian and takes off his mask. Now, when that scene happened, I was just like, that's so freaking cool. And then that's when you get most of the talking going on. And Damian notices that she fights like Bruce Wayne and also fights a little bit like Catwoman. So we just get some great character moments between these two. And I cannot wait to see where it goes from there. Eventually, Huntress is able to tell Damian what's going on. And it's a little predictable at that point. But it was a fun ride. I mean, I just enjoyed the art so much, especially Kevin Maguire. And especially, look at that. I just like the way his facial features are in the book. So if you're looking for a fun little ride with Damian and Huntress, and it's just $2.99, go pick this book up. But just know that you're going to be going into it with a really bad middle. The middle is just so bad and just drags down this whole entire book. And I would actually like to see Paul Levitz off the book entirely. Get somebody else on there that can actually write women really well. Because I think that this book can do really good. But it just doesn't have the right writer on there to make this book up to its potential. And I never read any of Paul Levitz's stuff before. But reading this, it just makes me not like his writing style and the way he portrays women in his books. So, I'm going to give World's Finest Huntress and Power Girl 2 out of 5. It was just an okay book, especially that middle. I did enjoy, though, the fight between Huntress and Damien. So, my next book is a little book called Earth 2. This is the last issue in the first story arc that James Robinson and Nicholas Scott have been telling. And the last time we left off, nukes are going to go and hit Washington, D.C. to try to stop Grundy and the Rot. Or not the Rot, the Gray. And so we get this great introduction into a character that had a big part in the Zero issue, and that is Sloane. Now, what does Sloane do? Now, in Earth 2, we've seen all the hell that Apocalypse brought upon the Earth. And Sloane knew to stop Apocalypse, he had to destroy some cities that Apocalypse had major control over. So he sent nukes over there, and there's a bunch of cities like Paris that are just destroyed beyond belief. And it's all because of Sloane. And that did help for Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman to destroy or send back Apocalypse. So, Sloane is known as just an evil guy who's the smartest man in the world, but he is evil. And so Sloane gets the same idea, and he goes to the government, basically tells them, to destroy them, we have to destroy Grundy, and we have to send nukes over there. So we basically are killing millions to save billions. And I just love that point. Just the artwork by Nicholas Scott is so gorgeous. Just so gorgeous. And we see the big old battle with Grundy and some of the people from, not the JSA, but just some of the heroes of Earth 2. And what is Green Lantern doing? Well, in the last issue, last time we saw him, he's basically gone into a trance and is talking to the Gray. The Gray tells him, I'll give you back your fiancé, because his fiancé did die in issue number 3. And you just see the bliss that is on Green Lantern's face with his fiancé. It's just a very tender moment. You're just like, you feel for the guy. Because Green Lantern, since he's got the ring, he has not really acknowledged that his fiance died. He has basically just been finishing the mission and not worrying about all the stuff that happened leading up to this point. And I do know that once that silence comes and there's that low of the book, James Robbins is definitely going to be building on the mental state of Alan Scott in the new in Earth 2. So there were some good points with that. And I just loved seeing the artwork by Nicholas Scott in here as the Flash is taking on Grundy. And Grundy is so powerful in this book. And I just love in the background you see the Green Lantern. And I just love how all the pages just blend in together. And just to see Alan Scott with his fiancée is just so beautiful. And then he notices that nothing is as what it seems. So he uses his will to break the little illusion that the Gray has put upon Green Lantern. And he finally takes the fight back to Grundy. And just to see the power that comes from Green Lantern, it's just awesome to see. Awesome to see. And the nukes are on their way. And it's just like all this tension is coming to a head. We got Grundy, who's basically destroying the whole entire world. We got these nukes that are going to come and basically destroy everything in its path. And I do see Sloane's reasoning for doing all this. But I just like all the tension that's building up upon itself. James Robinson is doing a very good job at doing that. So we got Green Lantern finally out of the trance. He knows what he has to do. So he basically just picks up Grundy and just flies off. And you're just like, holy cow, what is Alan Scott going to do? And just, I love the look of everybody just looking upon him, just being like, oh my god, what's going to happen? And then the Atom finally remembers, oh, my secondary job was to get these two. So since the main problem is already taken care of, he's going after his second objective. And then this is the point where Green Lantern sees that the rockets are coming, and he's losing his power because he's getting further and further away from the Earth. So what does he do? Uses the last of his powers to throw the bombs away, and then to throw Grundy to the moon. And it's just like, I thought that the way that everything was finished, or the way he dealt with everything, was a little too quick for my taste. But I just like the idea that he just throws Grundy to the moon. Now, how is this effective, you may be asking? Well, with Earth 2, Grundy is the main bad guy, or the main guy for the Rot. Now, or the Gray. And in the Earth Prime with the Rot, is that they have many warriors and just what do they call avatars for the Gray, for the Rot. But in Earth 2, they only have one, and if that one is still alive, they cannot have a second one. So what does he do? Alan Scott just throws him to the moon. He's so far away from the Earth and from the Gray that he cannot have connection to him. So as long as Grundy is still alive, the Gray cannot have another avatar for them, or another champion. And I'm wondering how this is going to be playing out in the up-and-coming issues. But just know that this is a fun issue with a little bit of unsatisfying ending. Oh, wait. There's one thing I really want to talk about. There's a point at the end where Alan Scott, he's falling to Earth because he was as the Gray, he was far away from the Earth, so he was losing his powers. He's fallen from Earth, and Hawkgirl comes to save him. Hawkgirl brings him to the ground, and basically the Flash says to him, hey, we're the new wonders of this Earth, or of our planet. We need to team up, we need to take down whatever bad guys comes next. And what does Alan Scott say? He basically gives him the finger and says, well, I know what my weaknesses are, so I don't need you guys, and you guys can go and just F yourself. I was so shocked at that point. I was just like, what? Really? That's what you're going to be doing? Ugh. I just hate that character moment. Yes, this is different than the Earth, than the regular DC universe, and I like that there is diversity and that there are different character types in this book. But it was just a shocker to see. And it was just like, oh man, I don't like Alan Scott. I always have liked Alan Scott, but the way that James Robinson put this point in there was just like, huh, I don't know what to think about Green Lantern anymore. So I cannot wait for the next issue. The next issue is going to be touching upon what happened with Mr. Fantastic, because we just got a panel of him like in the second issue, and then after that, nothing came about it. So I'm interested to see, because what happened with Mr. Fantastic is that he met up with Sloane met up with him, and then that was the end of it. So I just wonder if Sloane and Mr. Fantastic are actually working together. That would be an actually really interesting twist. So I'm going to give Earth 2, issue number 6, probably the lowest grade I've given an Earth 2 book, and that would be just a 2.5 out of 5. Nicholas Scott's art, though, is just gorgeous. gorgeous beyond belief. Now, the next two books I'm going to be reviewing together. And then, of course, is Swamp Thing and Animal Man. This is the second part in the Rot World storyline. And basically, they have the same feel to it. You got Swamp Thing and Animal Man dealing with the fact that they had this 1 year gap and that the rot has taken over. And it's about them going to take the fight to the rot. So with for the Swamp Thing, you have him dealing with who is he dealing with? He's dealing with Poison Ivy and Dead Man. Or he's teaming up with Poison Ivy and Dead Man. And then Animal Man, he's dealing with some of Constantine and some of the other people from Justice League Dark. Oh, he does own the car. Okay. I thought I just was watching some guy breaking into some guy's car. Because the guy was acting really strange. So I was just like, is that going to really happen right in front of me? So we got some very same themes going on in the book, where we got Swamp Thing and Animal Man basically teaming up with some of the people from the Justice League Dark series and go take the fight back to the Rot. So would I say that this whole Rot world has been great? No, not really. The build-up, there's been such a build-up for a year for this event. And I felt since we got here, both books are doing the same exact thing, even though they're apart. And it feels like it's not really going anywhere. Because in the last issue, we had them finding out that there's been a year gap. In here we got the people telling them what happened in that year. And then them just going to go and take the fight back to the Rot. So I didn't really see any character development in here. I didn't see any plot going anywhere. I just felt like these two issues were just in a standstill. And we got Swamp Thing going to go and try to... Or is it Animal Man? But anyways, one of them, I think it's Swamp Thing, is going to go and try to go and take the weapon that is trying to be built in Frankenstein Agent of Shade. So we got these interlined plot lines, but in the end, I just felt like these series are really not going anywhere. I am going to keep on reading them, but Rot World is just not what it was built up to be. Hopefully with issues number 3 for both of these guys, that they can come back on and be really, really good, because the writers on here are just so good. Scott Snyder and Jeff Lemire, who are two of my favorite writers in the New 52, or in the DC comic line. So hopefully they can pick up their game and start telling some good stories, because I just feel like that these two issues have just been really static, and I'm going to give both of them just a 1.5 out of 5. And I never thought I would say that about Animal Man or Swamp Thing, but they've just been bland. And just nothing really good came out of it. Now, the book that I really, really am excited to talk about, and that is my pick of the week, by the way, is Deadpool issue number 1. Now, I go to my local comic book shop. I see Deadpool, $2.99. I'm not really a big Marvel guy. I've never, ever read a Deadpool comic. But I see it on there. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll try it out. Why not? Everybody's been telling me how good it is. I read an interview on Comic Book Resources about these guys, or the writers on this book. And I was just like, okay, these guys were really funny in this interview. I'll give this book a try. I am so glad I did. Deadpool number 1 was freaking funny all the way through. The storyline is that we got some magic guy resurrecting our presidents because he hates the way that our country's divided. So he's resurrecting some presidents. Captain America's eventually in there, and you see him basically destroying one of the presidents, decapitating him. And it's just so funny to look at and to see that S.H.I.E.L.D. just like, we cannot have that. We cannot have Captain America decapitating one of our presidents. So they give the job to Agent Pierce, I think is her name, Preston, to deal with it. Now, Preston looks just like Amanda Waller did back before the New 52 started, and we got her sidekick, or basically her partner, this bald guy, and just right off the bat, you're just like, I love the way that the art is portrayed in this book, and everything about it is just so freaking funny. And then we meet Deadpool, and what is Deadpool doing? But he's inside this monster, and just look at the artwork, and just look at the nipples on this thing. You cannot just not smile while you're reading this book. I love just the way that the monster is just being portrayed here, and then just Deadpool just coming out being like, I'm Deadpool! And then to see the points in there with Thor, and just Thor basically being like, this never happened. It's just all around a funny book. Everybody go pick this book up. I cannot say more about it. I don't want to ruin the jokes, because it's just one of those books that would just put the biggest grin on your face. I definitely put this book on my pull list. This has been one of the funnest books I've read in a long time. And with it being my first Deadpool comic, my comic book guy gave this book to me for free. For free! I just cannot thank him that, you know, he was just like, dude, you gotta try this book out and I'll give it to you for free. This book has been one of the biggest surprises, and I am, as long as these guys are writing this book, I am going to be in this book for the long haul. I mean, this was like the perfect #1 issue I think I've read in a long time, and it just got the point across who is Deadpool right away. I didn't have to know any other continuity about Deadpool. It was just one of those books that was just fun stuff in there all the way through. And it goes to the artists who worked on the first 6 issues of The Walking Dead, and I just seeing his art in color for the first time was just like, man, that's so cool. I just like his artwork. I like everything about this book. There's humor all the way through, and I've never laughed so hard reading a comic. So everybody go pick this book up. It is so freaking worth it. So that's it for this week in comics, and next week I'm going to be having a lot of books to review. I looked at next week's comics list on iFanboy. And if you haven't been to that website, go to that website, and they have this pool list that you can do that to show all the comics that are coming out this week, and you do your own pool list. And that's the way I'm able to see how much money I'm actually going to be spending this week. So I was looking through it, and there's a lot of comics that really can't wait to read. Saga issue #7 is going to be coming out. It's just 3 months hiatus. Batman issue #14 is going to be coming out, which is going to be awesome. And we got Fantastic Four. The new writer and artists are going to be on it, so I'm really excited about that. And to read all new X-Men, which is going to be really cool. I can't wait to read. So I cannot wait for next week, or tomorrow actually, because I'm doing this on Tuesday. My name's David. This is the Comic Fix, and I'll see you guys next time. I hope you guys enjoyed this longer edition of the Comic Fix. See you guys next time. Oh yeah, and you guys can follow me on Twitter also, and on Facebook, or friend me on Facebook. The links down there below. See you guys later.